Walid, this question actually always bothered me. People say like God exists, but my question is from when? Like we started existing since the time we were born. Our parents started existing since they were born. It's like goes on and on. We know the cycle. Okay. We know the start of the universe also, it's a Big Bang. But I still don't understand start of God actually.
Okay.
Like people say God was there before the universe was there. My question is what was there before universe and when did God start?
Okay, so you're not able to comprehend how God can always exist.
Yeah.
And he has no beginning.
Yeah, how can God exist before the universe when the universe started with a Big Bang?
Okay, let's just keep going back. Your parents created you. Your great parents or grandparents gave birth to your parents.
Yeah, that's
your great grandparents gave birth to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we keep going back like that, and then we have the first humans, and then we keep going back. We have the Earth. We keep going back. We have the solar system, the creation of the solar system. We keep going back. We have galaxies. We keep going back. We have nebula that created those galaxies or stars. Then we keep going back. We have the Big Bang. So tell me, what caused the Big Bang?
The way we know is that the universe just popped out of existence with the Big Bang. Somehow.
Just by chance?
Yeah, that's how I say it. We don't have any evidence or anything, right?
Okay, I'll tell you why I don't think it's possible for the universe to just pop into existence from nothing just by chance, okay? So you're saying there was nothing, and then the universe popped into existence by chance?
Yeah, that's how I say it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's just say you have a die with 6 sides. What's the chance if I roll that die a 6 comes up?
Let's just say there are 6 sides on a dice, and there's a 6 on one of those sides. Then the chance of you getting a 6 is 1 out of 6.
What if the die has 200 sides? What's the chance of a 6 coming up?
By the way, it's not a die, it's a dice.
Yeah, I think die is like singular for dice, right?
No, you say dice.
Let me just Google it real quick.
Wallet!
Singular dice. Die. By the way, let me just quickly share my screen. Die. Die is a singular form of dice. Okay, so you have a die with 2,000 sides.
Then it's
1 out of 2,000.
1 out of 2,000, yeah.
What if it has 2 quadrillion sides?
Then it's really 1 in quadrillion. Yeah.
1 in 2 quadrillion, right? But what if there are no sides? There is no die. What's the chance of a 6 coming up?
If there is no die, if there is no 6 on the die, if the die doesn't exist, then the chance of getting a 6 is non-existent.
Is there a small chance that a 6 comes up?
No, it doesn't happen. That's not it.
Is it completely 0 or is it 0.00000?
It's completely 0 for sure. 100%.
So there's no chance?
Yeah.
It's impossible?
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because there is no die for a chance to come. If there are 2 quadrillion sides, then there's still a 1 in 2 quadrillion chance that a 6 comes up. But because there is no die, then the chance of it coming is 0, right?
Yeah, that's true.
If we take the same concept and put it like, let's just say there's an empty room, completely it's a room it's just a vacuum, and there's no radiation or any kind of matter inside the room, then the chance of this phone popping up in that room is 0 because there's nothing in the room. If there were different molecules and stuff, then maybe it's 1 in 2 quadrillion chance that a phone
That's
like
not
this
even
pops
still
up.
not possible. Because a phone is
not possible because it's too complex, first of all.
Complex.
Yeah. So if I told you a phone, this phone just popped into existence, you're not going to believe me because it's too complex.
Yeah.
Let's just say I said in a desert, this phone popped into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Just on its own, molecules formed whatever, and this one popped into existence. What are you gonna say?
I'll be like, how's that even possible?
Is it impossible for you?
It is completely impossible.
Why? Because it's too complex of a thing
obviously.
to be created. And the universe is, wouldn't you agree, like a billion times more complex than this?
It is, because we don't understand.
Gravity, everything.
Yeah. Gravity,
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, proteins, molecules, and everything is much more complex than this.
So to form a protein, 150 amino acids long, you've got a 1 in 2 chance at each site of getting the correct type of linkage. So you got 1 in 2 times 1 in 2 times 1 in 2 times 1 in 2 to the what power? That linkages, we have 149, but call it 150. It turns out that 1 in 2 to the 150 is the same number as 10 to the 45th, 1 in 10 to the 45. So now we got 2 incredibly improbable things that we've got to overcome to build a functional protein by chance alone. One more problem. When you're building proteins, amino acids come in 2 flavors. There's a left-handed flavor and a right-handed flavor. They're called optical isomers, not flavors, okay? And the left-handed version is the only kind that can be used in building proteins. You get even one right-handed amino acid in there and your protein won't fold properly. So you got another probabilistic hurdle to overcome. So you've got a 1 in 2 chance at each site again, out to the 150th power. 2 to the 150th power, again, is 10 to the 45. Oh my goodness. So the odds of building even a short functional protein by chance alone is 74 plus 40.
164.
Thank you very much. Okay? Wow. Now, can anyone get their mind around a number that big? There's only 10 to the 80th elementary particles in the entire universe. There's only 10 to the 16th seconds since the Big Bang. There's only 10 to the 139th total events since the beginning of the universe. Now you're starting to get the understanding of why people are very skeptical that the chance hypothesis is going to do the job. Has anyone ever gotten in a discussion with you about the origin of life and said, hey, it happened by chance? I mean, do you hear that? I mean, this happens to me. I'll be lecturing in hostile university environments, and I'll get done and somebody say, well, but, and they want to argue with me about the probabilities. And I just shut the discussion down because I say, no serious scientist thinks this is the way it happened. It's always going to be more probable that it didn't happen by chance than it did.
Okay, so if you're not able to believe that this pops up into existence on its own, then the universe coming into existence on its own is much more slim. But let's just say there's a 1 in 10 power 500 chance that the universe did come into existence on its own.
Okay.
That would be the case if there was something existing before the universe.
Yeah, so what you're saying is universe came out of nothing?
If the universe did come out of nothing, how is it even possible? Like, how can something come out of nothing? So for me, the only way that the universe comes out of nothing, or anything comes out of nothing, is if there is an infinite being. What do I mean by an infinite being? Is, let's just say in an empty room, completely sealed, it's a vacuum, and there's no radiation or anything coming in, and we have a 5-pound object inside that room.
Okay.
And we have to create a 1-pound object in that room. So how would we do it? Now, the only way we can do it is take 1 pound from the 5 pound, so that will become 4 pounds in a 1 pound, right?
Yeah.
We created a 1 pound object. But that's not creating something from nothing. That is creating something from the 5 pound object. So if it's an infinite object, if it's a 5 pound object, 5 minus 1 will become 4. But if it's infinite minus 1 is still infinite. It didn't reduce even by a little bit, it's still infinite. And this came out of nothing. Even if I take out 2 quadrillion out of it, it's still going to be infinite and 2 quadrillion that came out of nothing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the only way the universe is coming out of nothing is then something that's infinite brought it into existence. Okay. Now your question is, how come that infinite being doesn't have a beginning?
Yeah, like why? We don't know whether God has a beginning or not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so how come, like, he should have a beginning, he should have a start? How come he always existed, right?
That's right.
Let's just assume that how do we know that the universe is 13.7 billion years old?
We speculated, we assumed it, doing some
We calculated it.
calculations.
There's 2 ways that found that out. One is by guessing, like looking for the oldest stars and calculating how old those stars are.
Okay.
And the second way is by seeing how fast the universe is expanding. So if you're going back in time, 13.7 billion years ago is when it should have been nothing. That's when the Big Bang should have happened. Right?
Yeah.
So they see that it's 92 billion light years across. The universe is 92 billion light years across. So if the universe is 92 billion light years across now, then if we go maybe 2 billion years back, then maybe it was 30 billion light years across. If we go 10 billion years back, maybe it was a couple million light years across. If we go 13.7 billion years back, then that should have been the starting point.
That's
right?
true.
But what if the universe wasn't it wasn't 92 billion light years across? What if it was infinite? We go 5 billion years back.
Okay.
The diameter of the universe is still going to be infinite light years across. If you go 10 billion years back, then the diameter is still going to be infinite light years across. If you go 2 quadrillion years back, it's still going to be infinite light years across. The size is not going to change.
Yeah, that's right, actually. Come to think of it.
Yeah. So if you are looking for the starting point of the universe, then we are going to have to say that the universe began infinite years ago. Like even if you go to a quadrillion, it's still going to be infinite years back. Infinite light years across. There's no difference in how big, although it's expanding, there's no difference. It's the same thing. So only if you go infinity years ago, that's when the universe came into existence. And what does that mean?
It means we don't know the start.
It means there is no start. And like in school, we've been taught in mathematics that 2 parallel lines meet at infinity. You remember that?
They meet at
so
infinity,
2 parallel
which
lines
actually means that they don't meet.
Yeah, so 2 parallel lines, they don't meet, but in mathematics we say they meet at infinity, which means they never meet. So infinite years ago means no beginning. It began infinity years ago, so you keep going, it means there is no beginning. It always existed. Does that make sense to you? So an infinite being, if the universe was infinite, then it never has a beginning. Similarly, if God is infinite, only an infinite being can create something from nothing. And if that infinite being is infinite, it cannot have a beginning.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد